two, one. Hi, and welcome to another Code Win Talk. I'm broadcasting live today. It is my birthday. But today's show, we're going to remember the 13 veterans, the 13 men and women that were killed. And we want to recognize that today. There has been a little forgetfulness around the country. I'm sorry for any loud noise in the background. My family's taking me out for my birthday, but here, Code Wind Talk, everything matters. Your voice matters, and we come out to you live all the time. We want to thank Sean and Triple Vibes and everything that goes into this show. Everybody knows my host, co-host, Johnny Pizza, a combat Vietnam veteran. Today he's going to lead the show. And we all know Madam Chief Shannon Greer Sealer, the wife of a veteran. We're very troubled about the state of our union and the treatment to our veterans and this whole deal in Afghanistan. And we're gonna shed some light on that. We're gonna talk with Louisa Flores, a lieutenant in the auxiliary NYPD, friend of ours and a friend to us here. We are excited to hear some of the things, but we're going to start the show. Johnny's going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about some of those hot issues. And Shannon will also give her input, our moderator. And pretty much today is my birthday, but as we start the show, and it's Johnny's birthday too. We have twins going on here. We have a double birthday going on. So because we are going to open with the veterans, want to play those little taps again, John?
Alexa.
In honor of the 13 men and women that sacrificed.
Here's Top of the World by the Carpenters.
Alexa, stop.
Is it working?
Play taps.
Taps by U.S. Marine Band on Amazon Music.
So we want to take a minute for our men and women who died courageously, fighting to preserve our freedom and safety.
We were crazy.
We want to thank John for doing that, and we want to just remember those and to all the families of these 13 girls. We are grateful and humbled at their sacrifice and the many men and women still sacrificing as we fight to get out the other Americans that are there. But we want to recognize who don't get treated like heroes on a daily basis, even though they make a daily sacrifice. We are all humbled here today to our military, our law enforcement. It is a sacrifice to keep people safe. We're in a challenging time right now in uncharted waters. Since this COVID pandemic has opened the eyes of America and also placed a divide on America. We hope that this show brings a little common sense to you. We are never shy to allow anyone to speak what they believe is their truth. Sometimes we get in little heated arguments, but everything is all about truth, and everybody here on this show care about one another. And it's not the explicit opinion of the network or how we're coming to you, but as Americans, we are all in a challenging time right now, and we want to start the show, and we want to remind you about John's book, The Last Goodbye. We're working on the treatment and mini series, putting that together. We were just talking about that. When we get that project done, it's going to be amazing. So you should go to the lastgoodbye-book.com, and you will see the link there, and you'll see the little promo about John's story, his life story, his family story, and the impact it had on him and his loved ones, and the loved one that was lost there. And that's why we're talking about that as well. And We're going to hear some interesting things from Louisa Flores and what's going on in New York City. Today, I am in New York with my family. I'll let you see again. Uh, this is just my nieces and nephews. Last night, I went out with my two of my siblings, for a private little dinner where we were at another Italian restaurant, uh, having some fun and laughing and reminiscing, but also talking about the troubles in our country. That this reckless, the taking our troops out of Iraq, and leaving Americans last, and refugees, and we love helping and being the country that embraces refugees and a country of immigrants. But when we have other challenges and troubles, we and with this terroristic country, this tribal country, we can't risk any further harm. We're coming up on the anniversary of 9/11. We're going to talk about that because next week will be in the week of that, and we all know I'm a 9/11 survivor, and I want to talk about this 9/11. I was going to stay in New York for it because I was here, but I'm going to go to Florida. I've already called Mike Randell, my fallen officers, and I told him I remember this year. And in addition to the list of those who died and perished at the site, I want to talk about those heroes who died after, who encountered, like me, the COPD, that it became far worse. By God's grace, I sit in front of you, and I didn't get the cancers, and I'm grateful and thankful to God and humbled at the sacrifice of so many. As my friends have passed, and we just buried another detective from the after effects of 9/11, and we're going to bury more. So I think that an additional list should be made, and I said this at the last two memorial services, that this is not just about them. Others are still perishing, and I want to acknowledge that. So I'm grateful to be with you all today and celebrate my birthday and Johnny Pizza's birthday, and we got Louisa Flores, and of course, as always, our newest addition, Shannon the Chief Sealer, the school teacher. So, John, we're going to turn it over to you and let you start off with the topic. And I'm going to be in for a few more minutes and hang out. And then you, Shannon, and Louise are going to handle the show. And I'm going to celebrate this day for both of us while you're doing the show. And here's to our birthday.
Salute.
Salute.
Thank you. Thank you. John,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. First of all, from all of us at Cold Wind Talkers, on camera and and behind the scenes, we want to wish all the parents, the spouses, and the families of the 13 heroes that perished unnecessarily in Afghanistan our deepest regrets and sorrows to all of you. Really, truly sorrow. It hits a touching spot with me because I had to live the same thing that people lived. Members of my family and my friends in Vietnam. It's a horrible situation. There's no words that can describe it.
What are you looking at over there? Complaining about it. Where's your glass?
What bothers me is that it now Afghanistan's become a parallel war, a parallel war, Vietnam and Afghanistan, because we left Vietnam just abruptly, not having a victory, okay, and now the same thing happened at the Afghanistan vets, all right, and I know what they're feeling because for the government to leave them without a victory after so many people died, okay? In Vietnam, 58,279 people are on that wall, okay? And almost 400,000 were wounded. And Vietnam veterans are still dying from Agent Orange related diseases, okay? Now, in Afghanistan, since 2001, 2,461 perished, okay? And 20,719 were wounded. That's a lot of injuries and deaths, okay? And now we just added another 13 deaths that because of a poor leadership and a horrible decision to leave that country the way we did, and to leave our American veterans the way we did, flat like that, was disgusting. Okay.
John, let me ask you a question. As an experienced combat veteran, seeing his country in its most challenging time, what do you think would have been a better alternative here? How would you have done things differently? What would you think would have saved those lives? What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't abandon that. I would, first of all, I wouldn't have gave up the airport. That was number one. That's our main transportation to get in and out, and to have security all around the country there. Okay, you had the firepower. Now we handed all firepower to our enemy. I mean, what kind of stupid idiot does something like that? Okay, I mean, now they're prancing around with our equipment. Okay, that's probably going to be killing more Americans over there with our own bullets and bombs. Okay, this is insane. Okay, it's insane. All right.
They left a lot of them. They left John.
You got to do this tactically. Okay, you got to sit down and talk to your leaders and say, how do we do this the right way? Okay, not to rush in there. And you don't rush into places before you think about what you're going to do, because the outcome is going to be terrible. Okay, you have to analyze everything, all your positions, all your people, where they are, what they're doing, and then systematically you do it. Okay, a little at a time. You first get your citizens out of there. It's common sense. Common sense. You get your citizens out of there. Okay, firemen don't rush into a fire and get the firemen out. They go out and they get the people out first. Okay, it's common sense. All right, same thing.
Good analogy.
Okay. So you go there and you take the people out first. And then
Right.
you look at the people who helped you. Okay. They were fighting with you alongside of you all those 20 years.
Right.
And you leave them like that? I mean, this guy's a disgrace
Yes.
to the entire world. All right. I'd like to.
Let me ask you a question, John. Isn't there also a protocol of destroying the weaponry before they depart from a country? When they extract, don't they destroy, like, what we leave, Tommy Hawk helicopters or whatever? We left a bunch of stuff that they could actually launch an assault on us. Right? They have enough equipment and aircraft that they could hurt American lives like right away, right?
Yeah, but Darin, it's not only that. I mean, the ingenuity and the engineering that's in the machinery that we left them, it's going to be studied. Okay, and now they're going to have the weapons, even the night vision weapons that we had. Okay, now they have it. Now that's almost like an equal playing field now. Okay, where we used to have an advantage. Now it's equal. Okay, and I mean, it's ridiculous. And now it's between China and Russia and Iran and all our enemies,
John, also sensitive technology in these equipments as well, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Now they're going to study that. They're going to learn from it. Okay. I just hope that we have hidden weapons above and beyond what they have right now. Okay. Which I'm pretty sure we do. Okay. Because you don't set out. You don't put your A game out before your B game. You follow me? So I'm sure we have an A game locked away in a closet someplace. Okay, but I'm not in the government. But I just go from common sense, going through living through years of life, see how just like I'm sure we got advanced weapons that they don't even know about. Above that we just left them. So that's one thing that keeps me, in a good mood. Put it that way. All right. But what the thing, like I was saying before, to get these people out, you do that for. Now I just found out that they even left the dogs, the animals there, abandoned the animals. Okay, that helped save American lives. They just left them in the airports in cages, to be probably slaughtered. Hopefully not. I hope they get them back. Because to me, an animal life is very important. Also, what I mean, especially the ones who are service dogs. Okay, but
Yes.
this should have never happened. These soldiers who were helping people. Okay, and then some monster walks up, a bomb strapped to him. Okay, You see, this is what should have happened, okay? Biden, okay? Not President Biden, just Biden, okay? Should have said to the Taliban, say, look, we're leaving. And I'm going to tell you right now, if one American dies, as we're leaving your country, you're dead meat, okay? And I guarantee you that bomber, those multiple bombers wouldn't have done that because the Taliban would have said, okay, you better leave these people alone. Otherwise, we're all dead. It wouldn't have happened, okay? And it definitely wouldn't have happened. Trump was in. It wouldn't even start, okay?
Hold on, Johnny. Johnny, hold on for a second. Darin, please mute on your end while Johnny's talking because we can't hear very well.
Okay. All right, but this is what upsets me because the weak leadership that we have right now, this should have never happened. Okay, you got to be strong. You have to be strong, and people would have respected it. And I guarantee you, those 13 soldiers would be still here. And I feel so bad for the parents. It's one thing, as bad as it is, for a soldier to die in a combat situation, but in that respect, it is expected to have casualties, okay? But when a soldier dies like this, it seems like it's for nothing, okay? Because of some stupid idiot, okay? That hurts. That really hits bottom, okay? And that, like I said, it should have never happened. Never happened, all right? And God bless the parent, those troopers who gave their lives, all right? I mean, I can't tell you how much it hurts. It's just terrible. And I feel so bad for all the Afghani veterans who served in this war, who lost their limbs, their eyes, who got burnt. I mean, and to leave like this, it's just like what? Like in Vietnam, when you say what did all those guys die? What did my cousin die for? What did all my friends die for? For what? For some stupid politician that's fattening up his bank account? Okay, like these morons in Washington are doing now. Okay. We don't mean nothing to them. They have nothing. These 13 soldiers didn't mean nothing to Biden. Okay, did you see him? All right, at the thing, looking at his watch, and I mean, this guy's pathetic. Pathetic. I get so angry. I swear, I'm sorry, people, but I get so angry at something like this. It should not be. It should not have been. I'm sorry. God bless you, you troops.
As we look at the men and women who died on that day, sacrificing their life to bring freedom and safety to the people of Afghanistan and to also get our Americans out. It was decided that this is over on the 20th anniversary. I don't think that they made the appropriate move here. Everybody's just about shifting blame in their leadership, but America has got to be, America and American interests always must be protected. It is very sad of the tragic loss. Two family members of mine are a colonel and a lieutenant colonel. One is still currently serving his last year after 20. He did 8 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. My nephew Anthony, he's the second oldest nephew. His father was Army. So whenever I hear tragedies like this, I'm taken by it. It's this is American interest. And when you put other interests before that, that's a treasonous act against this country. And we cannot accept that. I don't accept it. Then when you have defunding police, the harm that brings, and you're going to talk about Louisa, I won't be in for the second half, and she's going to talk about the auxiliaries. And, when I wanted to be mayor, I had a different plan for auxiliary police officers. But these are other militias, like that's our country militia. And then we have our local militia, which are NYPD. And then we have a volunteer force, the auxiliary police, which play a very important role in New York City. But they're not given the credit they deserve. And she's going to talk about, as we honor the troops, Shannon is bringing up the men and women who died. And today, as we get into this Labor Day week, this was a labor of love. These men and women every day, just as Johnny Pizza served in Vietnam and saved 3 of his comrades at the expense of being almost fatally wounded. But his cousin, he did sacrifice his cousin's life. And this family was another member. So we don't want history to repeat itself in such a negative way. You know, we need change. We have a 2022 election coming. I'm in the game for the 2022. They screwed me in 2020, but I'm coming back for 22, and I'm going to need all of you. And I'm going to bail out, and the family's getting restless. It is our birthday today, but I'm going to get over there, and then we're going to talk to Louisa, and I'm going to have the privilege of looking at the video playback. And we're going to say goodbye, and everybody's going to say to Johnny Pizza, because Johnny's birthday is the same way. So everybody's going to say, happy birthday, Johnny Pizza.
Hey, Johnny Pizza, happy birthday!
And there we go.
Thank
I'm Darin Aquino. It's always a pleasure being there. Louisa, we'll talk. And everybody, Shannon, Madam Chief, take the show with Johnny.
Darin.
Talk to you soon. Love
Darin.
you all. Chief out.
Darin. Have a shot of bourbon with me. Okay, Louisa. Hi, Louisa. Pleasure to meet you.
Hi.
I'd like to hear something about yourself. Want to take it away?
Okay. To carry back on the topic you were speaking on about the veterans, we've been having a long generation to generation term to protect our veterans when they return home. They are not respected. The government turns their back on them. They don't get the salary that's due to them, and the care, also the medical care. So from my grandparents to my parents and to my generation, we constantly have to fight individual cases for those who are in despair and need help and don't know where to go. So still, they are not honoring and respecting our veterans at no point, either off the soil and when they return home. And it is a tragedy of it's disgusting how our government turned their back still on our troops today. It is very disgusting and shameful. And I feel the ones who actually deserted them, all of them in any angle, should be in jail.
Definitely, I agree.
Because that's not humanity at all. It's totally opposite. Totally opposite. I have my uncles served in generations. My children's grandparents served in generations. And I mean, all the way back to when the South was fighting the North. My bloodline goes all the way back to that time, including the Mexican War. We have, those descendants straight into our bloodline today. And always they do not take care of the troops. Always have not. You have to really fight, and every turn is start from zero. They have these things out that looks like they are, from the media, and looks nice in a pamphlet and written paper, but they don't follow through any of it.
Right. Louisa, exactly. Can you explain to the people what you do? I mean, what your position is? Are you with the police department or with the military?
I am an auxiliary lieutenant at the police department.
Okay.
And I am the only American female as a rank in the police department for the last 20 years.
Is this the NYPD?
NYPD.
Okay.
A lot has to change there as well. And it's very, it's the same kind of fight as everywhere for women to be respected for all they do, for all that they do, legally in a rightful way. But we get overlooked, of course. And whenever I want to promote a female and to and promote them and any upgrade them, I am told, well, this person, is always a guy and it's not American. All of them who has a rank None of them are Americans. They all from a different country. I am the only one that's American, and it's Harlem of New York, and in the center of Manhattan. It's and when I had my I know I'm jumping all around, but it does connect to what I am saying, that we're not getting recognized, because when I had my ceremony, I was so surprised that it wasn't many females. It was like five of us, and most of them were not even Americans, and they was watching me and staring at me as if I was some alien kind of a person. But good thing, because of my personality, I'm very sociable with all levels of all walks of life, because I deal with adversity and diversity constantly, because I live in the colorful world, in Harlem. It's very colorful, so everyone's from all over. But as far as the Americans getting any respect and recognition, no matter what shade you are, it's not happening.
When you say they weren't Americans, what do you mean? They weren't American citizens? Or?
Well, they are American. Let me clarify that. You have to be an American citizen in order to be an auxiliary police officer, but they were not born here, and they were not raised here. They were not even raised here. So the ones that were here for like 20 years or more get overlooked compared to the ones who just got here 17 years and less. Right. They are getting groomed. They're getting the special treatment to be groomed with the laws of the auxiliary, with the NYPD, how to drive the van, how to drive the truck. You're not supposed to even be behind any of those wheels unless you take the tests, because it is a test to see if you can handle a strong car that has powerful motor. And they break all the rules to groom them so they can be ready for the test.
Okay.
They allow them to break the rules because they want to comb and groom that person to become the sergeant, lieutenant, captain, so forth and so on. Right. But they're not grooming the people that's already have been there that are Americans.
So you're getting overlooked. In other words, you're getting overlooked to go up the ladder.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And all of these
divisions in the precinct, they have so many different divisions and groups in the precinct, and you can see that in any YouTube video in the parade. You can see that for yourself. They all in their own groups marching, and that's how they work. One hand don't know what's going on with the other, and they clash a lot just to get their duties done. See, like carry out their duties, they clash because, like, for an example, auxiliary police and police on foot in public on the upper ground takes care of out on the ground level with stores, residential, schools, so forth and so on. Our jurisdiction does not go below that, meaning the subways. They have their own group in the subways. Mm-hmm. So if they say, oh, cover train station 110th Street and train station 125th Street, and I would say, we can't do that, and we cannot do that. And they will say, oh, you being disubordinated, you being disappointed. I said, the rules say you can't put us in underground because that's another division territory, and we have no business being there, and we cannot intervene. So we will be in their way. Mm-hmm. So in the precincts, the precincts individually want to do their own thing, but they don't do as far as keep doing it in a way of structured and respecting the rules, because they are there for a reason, and not to put more harm, not to do more harm. And a lot of these gun-ho leaders don't understand that when they're running a precinct. So you're looked upon as the bad person now. Just like we can march, our troops can march in all parades. So why, when you come to Harlem, where majority of us are from, and you say, oh, we're going to work the parade? And I said, excuse me, the memo says we are to march in the front of the parade where we're supposed to line up at. That's every year, traditionally every year. The last Harlem parade, my leaders wanted us to work, and I said, no, we're not. We're not working. And I didn't work the Irish parade, and that was down on 59th Street. I didn't work the gay parade. We marched it. So why can't we march our own heritage parade? And I said, well, one police plaza is here. The ones who control us, who our leader are for auxiliary, was there too. All the leaders come to the parades, including Harlem Day Parade. And they were there also. So they marched with me to the parade. I saw them at a distance from my precinct. I left with my group. My coordinator and them was saying, oh, you're going to go with these police officers, brand new police officers. They were Black Americans, but had no understanding of the significance of the Black Harlem Day Parade. One actually said out of his mouth, I don't know what's the big deal about this parade.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when I saw my coordinator with most of my group, I told my coordinator, don't you ever dare pair me up or give me assistance from an AAA, the hole in the ground. And I said it clearly. I'm just saying it nicely on this platform. I said, don't you ever. You made us waste a whole lot of time waiting on him, and he's hiding because he don't really want to march the parade with his NYPD group. I said, no, this is not acceptable. So when our leaders came in, because I called them and I told them, they met me on halfway to my precinct going back 116, and we conjugated. I just said, we're ready to go. And we walked back to the beginning of the parade and waited like we supposed to. I have plenty of pictures to even, show and prove that this is where we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be working the day, the Harlem Day parade. We're supposed to be a part of it. And then they have three big line out, like a school cafeteria full of free food for the NYPD and anyone else that was a part of the parade to come and eat and conjugate amongst each other in harmony and eat and drink and be merry.
So it sounds to me like the people who are above you, your leaders, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's the way I'm listening to is like they don't school themselves on the rules, okay? And they think any body, the BODY, is to do with what they please to do it, even if they didn't have the training for it. It's like sending a cook in the army to fire an M60 machine gun if he's never fired it, and put him in battle if he didn't have the experience or the know-how. Am I right in saying this?
They don't have what I saw. When I witnessed at the beginning, and I wasn't too much understanding how the protocol is for someone to be upgraded. The leaders, the board, you have to go through a board. Like, you are my superior, and then you put in my name as to be looked upon or chosen to be give me a better position. There was one person that was from a different country. He was there within 1 year. I was there in 3 years. So they put him and I, for my division, they put him and I name in to be interviewed for a promotion. Mm-hmm. The board members came out of their office and came straight to my direct superiors and told them, they have folders, files. And they said, Louisa Flores, in 3 years, this is her file. My file was thick. It shows how many things I did within the 3 years for experience hands-on, and how much hours I put in within 3 years. And they said, and this gentleman here, you bring here, look at his folder. So they opened it, and it was only like a few pages. They said that's a disgrace and a disrespect to Officer Flores. They said, I literally in front of everyone, they said I put the notch up in order for people to be even considered for a promotion. So they changed the rules more because all the things that I did. I was doing it because I wanted the experience, and I wanted to know, and I was interested, and I just wanted to see, how all these things, function and work. Not because I was trying to get a promotion. But when the board came out and said it in such sincerity, and I said, wow. So I remember that they was trying to get someone else who they prefer to be a sergeant above me, and that person only was here for a year with no experience and no given equality time, and above me. See, they had to put me because I was there longer, right, and had all the experience. So they would look really, they thought they was not being so shown that for favoritism. Right. But the board came to them face to face out in the open in the waiting area and explained to them, how dare you? You know how things work. And she's getting it without being even interviewed. She got the position.
So they went in your favor.
They went in my favor, and I was glad that they saw the smoke and screen.
Right, exactly.
And that made me be aware of, hey, this is how some people function in here like this. Right. And it hasn't changed. So they were allowing him to drive the vehicle and allowing him to, get, like, you will put someone under your wing as a student and you're a teacher. They will do that if they choose or favor that person. But they weren't doing that with me. And I do believe because I was a Black American female.
Right. Shannon, do you have anything to add to that? Do you have any input you would like to add? Shannon? Can you hear me, Shannon?
Oh, sorry, I had my microphone on mute. So
Earth to Shannon. Would you like to add anything to, put some input?
No, I just it's just kind of like, what do you do? It's almost like a microcosm of what's going on in the whole nation right now, is how it strikes me. Does that sound right?
Yes, favoritism. I mean, really. I mean, bureaucratic favoritism. It's just it's terrible.
And it's so crazy because the ones that's around you, that's minorities, they are the ones that really put their foot on your neck because they're not too intelligent of what life is really about. Because the one who it was a female, Karen, I forget her last name. She was the deputy inspector for the whole division of the police commanders. She was the one that gave me my lieutenant position. Her office at One Police Plaza. And they are Caucasian of different backgrounds.
Right.
And this is why I say, and I witnessed many years that who gave me my chance, even for career-wise, were always Caucasian people, not my own.
Right.
So it's the biases is there because it's taught, and the racism is there because it's planted in people's heads. And I know that for a fact. Because the ones who ever gave me a perfect report were Caucasians, and they said they had no other choice. I deserved it. Because we're come from, they say there's always room for improvement. So they don't give you what you deserve.
Right.
But when I was in the education department, there was a Spanish principal who told me the only thing that she sees clearly for me to improve is my education part. Finish school, continue your degree. That it was two of them, the only two that was a minority that would be honest with me. Others will say, well, I can't give you a perfect grade because, there's no such thing. And I said, and the thing is not a perfect grade. It's just the level grade that you deserve. No grade is perfect. And there's always room for improvement. But if you're making that mark, then give them give them what is due.
Right.
Give them what is due. And the one who's really opened my eyes to life itself that's really going on in this world were Caucasians. And let me stop saying past tense. I'm just thinking where the beginning started, where it started from. So in my precinct, the NYPDs is like the same thing, because the one who offered me my position, which I wasn't going for either, for a lieutenant either, is just because of I'm very diplomatic with the walks of life, and you see me everywhere. I participate in everywhere, coming from their words, not mine. I'm repeating what they have constantly said to me, why I deserve the position, because I wanted to know. Because I wasn't thinking of it. I wasn't going for it. I didn't write a proposal about it. I didn't, wasn't in a board meeting, why, to sell myself, why I should have the position. I wanted to know. And all of them, that was a group from from Queens headquarters. That department explained to me why. It wasn't just one person. So that means they were always talking about me and watching me and looking at me for all these years.
To watch your progress.
Yes.
Louisa, are you issued a weapon?
They are going for that now.
So right now, as of now, you don't have a weapon.
Right now, no. But they right now training people. It's not out in the public. People don't know, but they've been getting groups here and there to train them for it.
So I don't understand. How can they give you, like your upper leaders? How can they tell you to go down into a subway and work the subway without a weapon? What?
And also put us in high crime areas without a weapon.
That's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that.
Really had that happen just recently, and I said no. I'm letting my group know, because my uplines contacted them, my group, and told them where to go. And then after we suited up and everything, I said no, we can't be on that area. We need to be over here. And they did not want to listen to me, because they had got they was told by my upliners where to go. And I said, well, they're not here. If they were here, then you do that. But they're not here on foot with their guns. So you have to listen. You have to be in a safe area. So I walked away, because you will never catch me arguing in the street. That is not going to happen. So I just walked away. The XO in my group and another veteran were standing there with the group, telling them, you have to follow orders, who's on duty. So please go where she asked you to go. I was seeing this from far, and they were back and forth with the arguing. So now you see is sloppy, and the confusion putting them in harm's way, because now they're not paying attention of their surroundings.
You guys and girls, I'm sorry, you guys and girls for the last year and a half, I would say, have been in a war zone of your own. Okay? And I just can't visualize any of you without a weapon going into these areas where the people who you're trying to subdue got all kinds of weapons. I mean, See,
all
this
kinds.
is, that drives me
Tasers.
nuts.
Have tasers. They even have combs that's really a knife, sharp, pointy knife, and it looks like a comb.
Mm-hmm.
They just slide it out, and you'll see the danger. As soon as they slide it apart,
Right.
there's a sharp, long object that can kill you because it hits the artery. That's it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's it. So I stay where it's more, and I always like us in groups. I never leave two. No. Mm-mm. And I fought that back in the years for the NYPD as well. When one time, all of a sudden, you have one police officer for a whole block.
Yeah.
For both sides.
Insane.
And
Wow.
down to City Hall protesting with the school, saying you can't put our police officers in danger. And I got this at the time because my grandparents were very active with the police officers and the police stations and the fire department, and they worked with the community. We started the Tenn Patrol. That's why I got into cadets and explorers, and now the auxiliary, because my grandparents set the tone for Tenn Patrol. So that age group kept the block clean and safe.
Right.
Anything happened, you best believe my family was giving the report.
Right.
Not behind the scenes either. They were giving the report out and letting them know, don't do nothing around our family because we will report it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were very diligent like that, you know.
That's one of the things I always, if I was in the position to do it, would push for. The way the neighborhoods were getting so violent and so many innocent people getting killed or raped, or you know.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that each neighborhood really should have committees to get together, okay, and get coherence with the police, okay. And nowadays it's so tough because the police don't even they don't even the mayor and everything don't even have their back anymore. It's like a green light against the police right now. But that's why more so that I believe the neighborhood should get together and form committees to patrol the neighborhood. And if they see anything suspicious, they don't have to get involved. They don't have to get involved, but to report it. And I really believe, and the police are given the green light to respond. It would stop. It would stop a lot of this crime.
You right on track with that. But the problem is that with these boards, because I've been on board meetings forever. What these boards today for the last 15 to 20 years is totally different from the group that came before them. These guys today just want to shine and have their name on all paper and every flyer. They just there for ego.
They don't want to earn.
They're really cleaning up their community. And even their meetings, it's like something transparent to be so disrespectful and not traditional there with honor, dignity, and respect. That's like out the door. That's why today is a waste of my time to be in the meetings, because it's like I'm the only one who sees. I feel and sound I'm the only one who's saying and looking at it in a more clearer view. If you're here giving your quality time and you're speaking all these good words, why hasn't been reflected to what you've been saying for the last 15, 20 years? You see, they are not taking care of their community. And I said, it's disgusting to see the garbage all over the ground and the street so filthy. All stores and residential clean the whole front of the street all the way to the street. They don't throw it in the street or sweep it in. They pick it up and they put it in the street. I mean, in the trash can. Today, the streets are so filthy. You can smell the nasty, congested odor, bugs and nets all over the place. Why? When we have this meeting for years, my whole lifetime, why should it be looking like this? It's because they are not moving forward and putting the monies where it belongs. Right. For years, I fought for budget coming from my grandparents and my parents. We know how to fight for budget. But years ago, with Koch and all of them, you have to trace the money down here and go find it, and go down to control's office and say, where is the budget after we fought for it and got it cut for these particular things. So why? Don't tell me it's on the 3rd floor, 5th floor. You in the same building. Give them a call and tell them to release it. Don't tell me to call them or go upstairs to them. Stop playing these games and release our money. We're not begging you for something that's not ours. We're telling you what we wanted and what we wanted for, and we need it since 20 years ago. Right. So, stop wasting our time. But it's funny how when Trump was in office and the Republican leaders in Harlem, which I have worked for, when they asked for the budget for Trump, that was the first time ever I experienced we didn't have to look for the money. Right. It went straight to where he said he was going to send it. And they released it, and it shows where all the money went. It was it was transparent. You can see. Other than that, when it goes before, I was so used to hunting the money, tracing the money, going down to control's office and harassing them. Really, that's what it takes to push them to do something, because they are told by the mayors what to do with the money, regardless what it says on paper.
Right. I mean, being that you mentioned Trump, what I liked about him, I mean, all the years that I've watched presidents or politicians speak, okay, it was always BS. It was always 20 words when it could be said with 2 words. You know what I mean? Yes. What I liked about him, like when he came on and he was telling you, like an incident that happened, like when they were building the embassy in Jerusalem, for an example, okay? He told you every single step, every single dollar that was spent, how it was spent, who told him how to do it. He listened to people, and he did it. And he let me and you and Shannon and everyone else was listening who took interest to listen to him, okay? Know what exactly what was happening. He didn't leave you in the dark. You're coming away scratching your head. What did that guy, like? You listen to Biden. First of all, you can't make out 2 sentences what he says together, okay? Which drives me nuts. And they're praising a guy like that, okay? And his, to get back to the military again, what I call them Winking, Blinking, and Nod. The three guys that were giving him advice. I mean, and he doesn't listen to, even if they knew what they were doing, he doesn't listen. All right. But Trump listened, and that's why he was so successful. And the people don't give him the credit. I mean, they're foolish for hating him. So why they hate this guy is beyond.
Trump was
the media.
Trump was one. Yes, it's the media combing it like that. Trump was the president that was he was approachable, and he responded to you.
That's right.
He was approachable and responded. The media made the world to hate him because they highlighted so much stupidity instead of important things.
Look at all the stupidity that this
and lied about the truth. They really despised Trump because he spoke the truth. No matter how crazy he sound, what he said, these things are already knew of. Now to hear my president say it live on the news and the media, like he said, false news, false media, fake news. He was 100% about that because they sugarcoated it. And then when I saw him, because I worked for the Board of Elections, when I saw him, and I never worked in that site, but that year I worked in that site because I was really working with Hillary Clinton at the time. And promoting her state to state, physically, state to state. So all of a sudden, they had me in his site to vote. And guess who he chose to only assist him? Only was me. So they was trying to make it look like, oh, here's a Black American woman. Let's see how she's going to behave with him. That's how the media was behaving. But I shook his hand, and I told him and his wife, you look flawless, far more better than what the TV make you look so orange. they look gorgeous. They look like human beings, but on television, they make them look like monsters and make them look weird. That's what the camera was doing to them. And how I know that is because I was face to face with them, and they look nothing like what the TV media was portraying, making him look like he was orange and look like an alcoholic, person that's, intoxicated. That's how they, and looking mean, or make him look like devil with his eyebrows and hair. And it was nothing like that in person. And back in the days, he used to come to Harlem and socialize with my grandparents in the garden. And when my grandparents asked him also, when he asked my grandparents, so how can I help you? What you want me to do, for you? And when my grandparents explained which they wanted to help, and he did it, he delivered. And he came he came, sit, relax, socialize. I served them food, whatever he catered, because he has a high-end diet. It's totally different from Hispanic, background. But he did try my grandmother's cooking. He tried it. And he socialized, and they sound like him and my grandmother speaking for hours, different days, different times. They sound like two veterans speaking. My grandmother sound like a guy, a man, because they was talking about politics. They was talking about economics. They was talking about history. They was talking about everything all the way up to that time when they used to socialize. So all the stuff that they were saying about him in the media, I knew it was not true.
Right.
Was not true. They made him look like a monster, and that's like a monster would not sit around and spend time and come around for different days, spread out different years to come to socialize in Harlem with an elderly person who's not, who's Hispanic, totally from his different world. He wouldn't bother. They wouldn't even.
They made him out to be a racist as well, Louisa.
And everyone has their level of biasism and racism, because that's how it is, how we are raised in this kind of crazy world and society. But we choose as individuals to stop and put ourselves in a decent way, that we want to do the right thing. Humans love to do the right thing. Naturally, we're created that way. So when we catch ourselves doing something, and that don't feel right, I'm not going to say that, or I shouldn't have said that, we rectify ourselves. Right. That's the difference between real hatred.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah, I never seen such hate. It's
even amongst each other. That's not just because of our backgrounds. No, I've seen really hate within their own groups.
Yes.
Within their own groups.
They do eat their own. I've seen it.
Yes. Within it's so sad. I'm like, but aren't you Italian too? Yeah, but I'm not that kind of Italian. Aren't you Polish also? I thought y'all all stick together. No. Not like that. No, we it's today. That's just the illusion. Today is really because we want to self-gratitude, and we want all the rewards, but we don't want to be responsible for all the outcomes, only the good stuff. So it's a selfish thing to serve ourselves in all walks of life. That's what it really is.
It's almost become like it's every man for himself nowadays.
And
family unit is
that's what they're promoting since they've been promoting that. You see it on the television. I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never forget. But that's saying I don't need a man. But you do.
Of course, you need a family unit.
Family needs both. And the thing about Cuomo and the men like that, to me, when I hear it, I'm not even looking at it. I said it's a lie. It's totally a lie, just to get the man out of the position to put something else totally in position, because he's not working with them. They can't control him anymore, so he has to go. He has to go. He done so much more positive in America for our city. And
Cuomo.
they don't want it. Yes, they don't want it anymore. They going in a different direction, and he's not a part of it. So they had to find something to kick him out of the position. And look what they placed him with.
Who is they?
It's men, the people that put this new president. The same people who put this new president, this zombie person here, who is not sociable with his people, with the people of America, who's not who's
The ones.
who's standoffish and don't make opinions and comments of his own, and not transparent of decision making, and who made the decision and who's paying for what, and where everything you just said. He's not allowing us to know nothing at all. Nothing. He's just making the decisions, and they're giving him the decisions to make, and he's saying, then that's it, and he walks away from the camera. No question.
And
No.
he actually says, they told me I can't speak. Isn't that true?
Because because he's the puppet. He's the zombie. He's not really controlling this country.
And we're waiting for the media to say, who is they? Who is they?
It's the same ones who own America.
You won't ask.
The same ones who's setting us up
And turn Trump orange.
To have the third war. Because everything y'all was speaking about at the beginning, that's conjugating a third war. So those people to hate Americans, so they could come and attack us here on our soil.
It's coming.
This is what they're conjugating on every step that you mentioned, how they left all the ammunition there, how they turned their back on the ones who's been helping America for the 20 years. And really, they was not helping America for the 20 years. They was really helping Europe to have their allies strong. So when the war does happen, America is going to be standing by themselves. So you have Asia with Europe, you have Russia with Europe, and you're going to have most of the Middle East backing up Europe as well. We will be standing alone, and this is how they started this. You got to start. There's a seed they planted already, and it's building the seed to their way. That's why our government, we don't have one right now. We really don't have a government. Our government sold America out. We are the last country standing in their way for their plan to unfold.
Their great reset.
The great reset. We the last on the toll pole, so they need the whole of Europe, that side of Eastern countries, to be against us. So this is a plan. It happened with Russia. If people pay attention to the history of Russia,
Bolsheviks.
Same with Germany too. Yeah.
Yes, it's the same tactics. And I don't know why people don't wake up and pay attention. That is a replay. What works, they keeping it. What doesn't,
it just looks a little different because they're using a pandemic instead of, but it was new then, the tactics that they used in the past. And so for some reason we keep thinking, well, it's going to look like that. Well, this is exactly what it looks like, only the Trojan horse is in the form of a great pandemic.
Excellent.
Any distract from what's really happening, they jump right on. Just like the hurricane. With the hurricane, they were talking that all of a sudden Afghanistan was in the background. They love this hurricane that just came. Okay, because that's all. They started talking about the hurricane. All right,
and the flooding in Tennessee as well. I wanted to go back to Trump and say, at first, when he first came on the scene, I didn't know anything really about him, but I just had an impression that other people had, a negative view of him. And my husband was one of those people. So when he told me one day, like, actually Trump's going to be running and you ought to take a listen to him. I was like, Trump? I thought you didn't like him. And I was really like turned off. And I think that a lot of people just, and then he said, well, what is it that turns you off? What about him turns you off? And I just really started thinking about it as like, well, I guess I don't know. I don't know him personally, so it must be something that was planted in my head, and plus the things that other people are saying. So my husband challenged me and said, why don't you just go online and listen to his recent, speech, and listen to it all the way through, uncut, undoctored, and just hear what he has to say. Hear the guy talk, and then come back and tell me what you think. If you don't like him, fine. If you have a change of heart, then let's talk about that. So I took him up on that challenge, and I listened to the South Carolina rally. This is back it was before he was running in 2016. He was getting ready to run. And, I came out of that after listening to the whole thing, riveted, by the way. I thought he was very well spoken. I said to my husband, you know what, this is crazy. This guy is speaking our language. Where did he come from? And if you go back in the past and you listen to his Tonight Show interviews, he's never changed along the way. And he supported both sides, and the Democrats loved him as long as he was giving them money. They really loved him. They loved him so much. But the minute he didn't want to choose Republican, and he didn't want to choose Democrat. And so the way our two-party system is set up, you have to take a choice of the two parties. It's either black or white, red or blue. It's the dichotomy. It's the way that the system sets it up. You've got to choose yes or no. There's no gray area. And so he had to make a selection, whether he's going to run Democrat or whether he's going to run Republican. And because he obviously chose the other side, they demonized him. Oh, you're not on our team. And everybody's got this team mentality, like, sports and everything. It also plays into that programming.
Given what they wanted, period. Even if he had chose their title, he was not giving in the way they want things, and he was really trying to change things for better for America, period. And you're right about choosing, because when my grandparents used to go to Washington, D.C. to fight for the budget for New York City, they will always ask, well, what, you didn't choose the party, because they look at your paper, who group you are and who you are and what you're coming here for. And they go, you didn't choose a party. My grandmother or my great aunt will say, we don't need to choose a party. We are the people of America. Our blood is in this soil. That's our party. So we have a right to choose, right to be here. We don't, there's no such thing of your kind of party that you made up. We are not represented as a Democrat, Republican, Independents, none of it. We are the people of this country with our blood.
We're loyal to our nation, not to a party.
Our generation built America, so that's our party. They say that is our party, and that's more than enough, because we gave
and
our
they
blood.
don't like that, and they are in those same groups, and they want loyalty. You have to be loyal to us at any cost, and you must be loyal. And if you're not loyal, you're out of here. And
they want a title, and people are not titles.
So this is what it's come to, and we want the money. What was in it for us? The people can die in Afghanistan. Bring home.
Listening to Donald Trump's speeches over the years made me come to the conclusion that, and seeing how this president is, made me see that he will be the one who will be defending us if we have an open war.
Yes.
It would be not the government, not the
president. I had to choose him or Biden to take care of my family for a week, then I would definitely be choosing Trump.
They're replacing the men in office for certain kinds of women. They look like women. They look like Americans, but they're not, including including the presidency, including the presidency. We have to be very careful, because they are putting in people who are not basic, profound with traditional life of living with husband and wife raising children. They don't promote that. They're not living that way, and they're actually killing that. They're killing. So they're replacing our leaders with something else that's not
They have a
humane.
different belief system.
And I said, watch, they put a woman in his place. If he resigns, they will put a woman that looks like a woman in his place, but not really a woman of America, for America. For that, you know. So it's very, very dangerous times.
Yes, very dangerous. Yep. We're doomed. If it goes on the same path it's going right now, we're doomed.
But like I said, if push come to shove and we go into war, I do believe it will be Trump putting troops together to defend this country.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope you're right. I agree with it 100%. I want that every day. I ask for that. You know.
And sorry to interrupt you, Johnny. Another thought that I wanted to put out there about the two-party system is people should also recall that the Republican Party despised Trump as well. And what does that tell you? When both the majorities of both sides despise the man, but he goes out to the people. And I lived in Iowa for 6 years, and Wisconsin before that. And those are, I'm not from either state, but it's farmland all the way across the board. Like 90% of the people who live there live on or by a farm. It's most of the land is farmlands. Right. So Trump went out and made deals for the American farmers. He made deals for corporations to bring people, bring jobs back here. Remember that the lobster fishermen in Maine, he did up to his very last day, he was making deals like that for the people. And he would say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to fix the trade tariff system and make it pro-American. And he was working on that up to the very last moment for the people, and he would always be reliable on his word for the things he would say. Most of the time, unless it was something he met opposition to in his own parties, and people just that sort of stuff wasn't frequently covered in the mainstream media news, so people didn't see that. They just heard all this negative stuff that playing up on
for our division in Harlem, Republican for Harlem. We have a leader, Oz Sultan. He's been working for Harlem for some years now. And Tim and I always worked for Ruby Wright. She was a Republican, and she will speak directly to every president that was president. And I was so happy and comfortable the way Donald Trump was accepting her and working with her. And when she came to Washington, D.C., he didn't say, make her wait. He actually, attended to her. When she had her funeral, she passed away, we had a bittersweet event. It was my birthday in March, and she just passed away. And we was having a nice, a big event about it all. Plus, of course, political meeting at the Black Women's Association on 51st Street between Madison and Fifth Avenue. So that's high end. So when you go to places like that, it's definitely bow ties and gowns. And they gave me a surprise birthday treat, and I had no clue. I thought it was just to put our heads together from all parties, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, so on, so on. And we all congregated in that one area to get to work on plans with the trafficking of people, trafficking, the drugs, the everything that really hits home. And Donald Trump called in.
Wow.
He was very quiet, and he was giving his condolence.
Wow.
Oh, Miss Ruby Ray.
I can't even imagine that Biden would do that.
We have it all together for her wake and funeral for all the proceeds. He asked. He was offering his assistance.
Wow.
Yes. So that wasn't in the media. That was in the newspaper. And then the media that we had there, that's a part of our group, they was told no, they can't print it.
That's terrible.
And he would do things like pay off somebody's mortgage out of the blue.
But they told them, the media that was there for the magazine, newspaper, and for the radio station, they can't cover it. They can't do it. No, they was told no, with no reason. No.
This media, the personnel in the media have to go. I rack my brains out every day trying to figure a way to get these people out of their positions, because
you can't, because they own it.
They own it.
I'm living in a communist country right now. I mean, you can't say they can't do.
Put Bill Cosby in jail.
Uh-huh.
He was about to own a media, one of the major medias. So they came out with this old story about him drugging up women. And I was even in public, even now, even yesterday, we was having dinner in public, and I said, well, because he was not being controlled anymore, they had to get rid of him, because he was having his own topics.
Prince.
So
same
what they threw him, under the bridge, and drained him mentally and physically. So when he comes out, he can't do anything because he's tired now. He's absolutely tired. Look at his age and look what he went through. And I said, let me tell you something. I raised a lot of males and females, different age groups, not just with my children. And my son was the oldest. So he was very helpful leading the children and protecting them in the right way, backing me up to raise them and keep them safe. I said, I'm telling you, if any of those young ladies that I was raising was around Bill Cosby and all those other ones that they said they was raped or whatever, I would say, you supposed to have been home. Who gave you permission to be with some adults? You supposed to be in bed, sleep at those hours.
I wonder about when there's young kids.
They must be helping one of the at the hospital or at home. You're supposed to be cleaning or doing some chores. How do you have your underage children being around that world? How? So
yeah, I wondered that too. I wondered that.
Those men's responsibility, because when they that world, they're not checking for ID. Those celebrities are not checking for ID. That's the ones who work for them. That's their job to do. But it's also the parents' job to know where they minors are and be responsible and guide them. And I said, I will not even support my children to say, you jump in the shock of water. You think the sharks are not going to gulp you down, not going to eat you? If I said don't jump in that shark and I said you can't go out.
But Louisa, they may have been trafficked children at the same time, very likely trafficked.
No. They lived here in the United States, and they parents was using those children to get money for those celebrities. And when
that's like trafficking, right? Isn't that like trafficking?
How about prostituting your own children?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. And so they're still probably controlling them, because imagine if you're from childhood, you're used that way. Then, and they say now that you're an adult, hey, guess what? We're going to be using your story, and you're going to go up against it, what are you going to say? No, I don't think so. I'm done.
The point is, they wanted to get rid of those men so they wouldn't have the power to have their own media. That was
well, and that reminds me too of Kobe Bryant. You know, he died in a plane crash recently, and he was involved in big pharma. He was involved in the same company, Novartis.
His daughter had all the great ideas. He was the celebrity with the power of the people, the right people to support her ideas along with the finances. So they got rid of that whole team, all of them in the same plane, and they destroyed the whole plane because his supporters was on that plane as well with their children. They never released names that died. They just only said Kobe Bryant and his daughter, but they never released who else was there because that was his main contact to support their ideas to be independent from these bankers. So he had to go.
And the 3 days he was scheduled to testify in court against this big pharma company Novartis. 3 days prior to him going down, he was heading over to France, and he was going to be in a trial against because he was involved in that company, and it just happens to be this Novartis company held the original, one of the first SARS, the SARS virus. What do you call it? Gosh, it's just escaping my brain right now. The word that I'm looking for, patent. Novartis held the original patent on SARS-CoV-1, which is basically nearly almost the same as the one that we have now, SARS-CoV-2. And it just so happens that Kobe was on his way to testify against that same company. This connected this in an indirect way
to a highlight on that company, and they did not want
pandemic
to be told.
And also Kobe had some contracts going on in connection with China. He had been in China promoting his shoes and stuff recently, so he was also connected to China. Took him out.
The China leaders are with the Europeans. The Europeans lead China, has a hold on China. But there's certain divisions in China that don't work, they totally opposite. That is why they still have those killings in China by far. Like South Africa now has high volumes of killing. It looks senselessly, but it's for the new ruling. So they are really I was supposed
like
to
elite,
go,
like the ruling class elite.
Yeah. So the ones who oppose them are being executed right out in the open. There's no one safe in their homes. They've been going into homes and just chopping the heads off, literally, no matter what age, the whole families. And North Africa has been doing similar killings for the past 5 years with the leaders. I was supposed to go for the government. They for reasons, for planning for the future, for political reasons, and because they started poisoning those leaders, my campaign group could not travel there at all because it's been so dangerous. And
one of the presidents was died in a very suspicious way. He's the one that tested the papaya fruit for the COVID and the sheep.
And after that, they poisoned his son. They didn't want his leadership. He was the next in line. They poisoned his son, but they've been poisoning and killing them off before that president was killed. They've been doing that for the past 5 years, getting rid of that group, that leadership group that's related, who's next online with that same group. It's very dangerous. I tell people, oh, you want to run to Africa out of America, but who's going to save you when they come right into your home and assassinate your whole family? It's worse for you to move out there and be with no protection. The same reason why they had that demand of taking arms from homes,
like in Australia.
Right here, and our soil. They went from West Coast to Central America, taking people's arms that had the right to bear arms, and they end up hurting the families. So the sheriffs there aligned. 10 sheriffs came together because they did not like what was going on, because it wasn't their officers who was doing this. This was a special task force that the government flooded out there, and the deputies came together, 10 of them from different counties, to form an alliance to protect them, to protect themselves and their people. Because even they had a lieutenant murdered and killed in his own home at night. So the deputies,
so it is happening. It is starting to
happen. That's been happening because 3 of them tried to get here to tell America, because they couldn't get it on social media. They kept taking it down and blocking it.
They've been doing that for a long time, and we're all shocked that it's happening to us now.
Washington State is on video. It was on, I don't know if it's still on video, that this officer bear witness with 2 others trying to escape with him to come to Washington, D.C. to let the world know what's going on in Central America and West Coast, South and West Coast. And they barely got here with their lives, but only 1 made it. The other 2 was killed on their way trying to come here to up north to let people know what's been going on down there. So they had enough when this lieutenant was assassinated in his own home at night in Texas. This was in Texas. Yeah. And they had enough of it, and that's why the deputies came together to do a support force, a support task force for their counties and for their own families. It got really out of hand, and that was the time that they was just kicking doors down to take people's guns. But that's one of our rights too, to bear arms. Right. You're supposed to protect your land and your family until the authorities come. Then the authorities take over. That was the whole plan, to be able to stay safe until the authorities show up. Right. We had that right to, but now they wanted to change. They changing it all.
Now the authorities are coming and taking us out.
But they not our American troops. They're not our American people. This is a whole task force that was designed years ago in the Middle East, and they were trained and supported financially to know how to kill citizens with no remorse, with no mind of thought to say this is humane. They are not a threat. Why should we kill them? So the police officers today will not do that, and they're not going to do that. They already experienced that. They won't carry out that. Very few will have, very few, because they did it for themselves individually, sick individuals. But for the most part, the NYPD they want to do good, and their mindset is to protect, not to wipe out.
Right. Let's hope that all these little incidents that are happening across the country are starting to plant seeds for people to really wake up and wise up what's going on.
Right now they just revamped all the precincts. Everyone is new, brand new in all the precincts, including mine.
Luis, I'm sorry, I just interrupted. Go ahead and finish what your thought was.
Well, they brand new and they're not from the area. Like they hire people from your state to cover a different state. They're not from New York, so they're not really. And I cater to them more because they're not aware of. Don't stand in certain ways in the street. This is the best way to stand in the street to protect yourself. That way, no one won't. You'll be safe and you won't. Because we have a lot of sick people that was released from the institutions of or mental and disturbed people. They are walking the streets 24 hours and they are attacking people. This is why I said there's no way you can just talk about Asians being attacked when we all been being attacked just to go to work early morning, getting on a bus, riding a train. We all being attacked constantly, and you don't say anything in the media. All of a sudden now, the few incidents that happen with Asia, you want to highlight that so everybody can be against each other now? No. You can stand out in one street, any 5 boroughs, metropolitan area, and you will see big attacks being in action, different ones at the same time. You stand in one street and look left and right, down the block, left and right, and you will see things are going on fast like that. And because they're walking around, not taking their medication, they don't have to go to no centers, they're not being taken care of mentally, they was just all released.
And not being locked up again.
No, and they sleeping everywhere. Washington downtown, where you go visit to go watch the games and stuff and go eat dinner, you see all of them. You can't even go to CVS without all of them laying on the ground right there like they home in their living room.
So, ladies, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to wrap up. We've been on an hour and 10 minutes already.
Sorry
So
that.
Wow. You want to come back? Because I'd also like to get you on to talk about your experiences in the community to help beautify the community. That was one thing that you've been involved in that I'm very impressed with, and you have pictures to share. Maybe we could do that sometime.
Okay.
And also they're wonderful pictures. It warmed my heart. And you've also worked very hard in the communities, Louisa, with the elderly and those who are disabled. You have some interesting stories about that to share and how COVID has had a major impact on our communities and on those families and how they respond. And I'd love to have you come back to talk about what you saw and what you think would be a good way, better approaches to these challenges than what we've seen so far. And
needs to open up and speak on the spin of, if you're a COVID survivor and you survived that poison, you have no business taking those shots. None of they should be exempt, and I am going to fight that.
Would you like to come back and tackle that?
Yes. And then for the elders and the disabled, mental disabled, the government just forgot all about them. They just want them to die out, literally just die out. How are you going to send me my check? Send me what is owed to me in a check. I can't see. I can't walk on my own. I'm afraid to go outside. I'm not going to go to the bank and cash a check. I can't even remember my code. I have to open my book to read my code and then ask the teller, can you press these buttons for me?
Right.
Or have to wait for an attendant or wait for a loving neighbor or a loving relative to hopefully they will come. And if I'm in good condition, I'm able to go with them.
And they're scared. Just the caretakers are afraid to take care of their own family members. So.
Yeah. Yes. So it's like the government, there is no government. It's like we're destitute in America. And if it's like a million of people like you guys on this platform really bringing it to light and then physically doing something about it, the majority of the citizens of America will be dead within 3 years. Literally. Because the government is not doing anything. Do we even have a government anymore? Or
I wonder.
Screens just for
I like to take the money.
We got a bunch of cartoon characters running the place. That's what we got.
At least we had some protection with Trump. And I used to, when he was president. Yeah, y'all think he's crazy? Y'all think he's crazy? Great, because then the rest of the world won't mess with us. Exactly. The rest of the world knows crazy don't mess with the country.
They did in 4 years, Lisa. Now one missile was fired in 4 years. The day Biden got in, they fired missiles all over Israel.
Will be back, especially the military department. Yeah. I think he'll be controlling that.
Yeah, that's what
Luisa, it's been just wonderful to have you on. I'm so glad that you made it and were able to join us and tell us all about your experiences there. It's very much an eye-opener, and we've had a fantastic discussion. So I think that we should come back and start exploring and
also, can we also have Sultan as well, because he's really into
Johnny
politics part of it for years, for a long time.
And he was on recently, but it would be nice to have the format kind of more like what we're doing now, Johnny, where we can just kind of let them talk and explain what they're dealing with, and it opens up some amazing conversations and insight.
He's also active on the board 69 and 70 for Harlem.
Yes. All right. Sure. The more we listen, the more we learn, and we know about.
And Johnny, you are a veteran, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's his birthday, so happy birthday, Johnny. Thank you so much for spending your birthday with us.
Thank you. Louisa. Huh? I'm sorry?
Yes. I take it to heart that you are a veteran. I really have a soft spot for our veterans, because it takes a person to be very strong-minded to give up his life for a country of many people that don't even know you. We know how mothers are with their children. But for a veteran to do it for his home country, that is extremely special. And I applaud your respect.
Thank you.
Yes.
You check my book out, Louisa. You
yes.
Check the book out.
Hold it up.
Yeah, I got it here. The Last Goodbye. Can you see it?
I loaned out your copy to my son, and I keep forgetting to get it.
I will get your book. And
Louisa, that is
Army. He's in the Army as well. He's in the service right now. So
I read that. He would like that book. It's got a surprise in it. That's it's a very uplifting, and it's a great story.
So can I Amazon or something?
Yeah, go on Amazon. They got a sale on it, and you could say The Last Goodbye by John Fratangelo. Say my name. This way it'll pop right up, because there's a couple of books with the same title.
Okay. So I'll have to too, because I'll let him keep his own and give it to for a gift.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you. A pleasure to know you.
Oh, same here. It was my pleasure to finally get on board.
So I think we'll close the show with for the honor of the veterans who lost their lives with the taps again.
Sure. Absolutely, and also want to thank Sean for his work behind the scenes. Thank you, Sean.
Triple Vibes Radio.
Thank you.
Happy birthday again.
And happy birthday to
Darin. Birthday, many more blessings to enjoy life to come each year.
Thank you, everybody.
And goodbye to Darin as well, who's not here to say goodbye, but
happy birthday to Darin as well.
I'm gonna play the song. Alexa, play Taps.
Taps, a U.S. Marine band on
God bless.
God bless everyone. I salute all you veterans.
God bless.
Bye, Shan.
Bye, Johnny.